Hi everyone and welcome back to Sprinkle with Paper. Today we're going to be making a quick and easy pumpkin pie stencil. In today's video, I'll show you how to create the stencil, what supplies are needed, and how to prevent your stencil from sticking to your pie. To make our stencil, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the base of the stencil. So basically that is going to be the circle part that's going to fit onto the pie. So for me, I picked up a Costco pie, and the diameter of a Costco pie is 12 inches. So once you have the measurements of your diameter of your pie, then you can go ahead and just select the circle under the Shapes tab. And then I'm going to change the width to 11.5. I know that the diameter of my pie is 12 inches, but I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller to take into consideration the crust. So as you can see, since the circle is so large, it doesn't fully fit into the frame. So to fix that, I'm just going to go down to the left-hand corner and I'm going to change the view to 75%. Now I have a view of the whole circle. The next step for creating our template is we just need to pick out a design that we're going to cut out of this base. So I'm just going to click on Images, and I'm going to search for a turkey. As you can see, there are so many different turkeys to choose from, but since we're creating a stencil, we want to pick something that doesn't have a lot of detail and that would make a beautiful silhouette. I'm going to select two different turkeys and then I'm just going to test them back on my project page and I'll choose which one I like the most. For this first turkey, I'm just going to hide all of these additional layers by just selecting the little eye icon over here on the right hand side, and I'm going to do that until I'm left with only the base of the turkey. Then I'll just resize the turkey and place it onto the base of the stencil. I really like the look of this first turkey. It has a traditional look, which is my style for sure. This next turkey, I feel like it's a little too cartoonish, which is not really the look I'm going for. Now that I've selected my turkey, I'll just make sure I'm happy with the size on the template. And once I am, I'm just going to highlight the turkey and the circle, and I'm going to click Slice down in the right-hand corner. So as you can see, the slice feature works like a cookie cutter. So basically, we're just going to be cutting out the turkey on the base of our template. It's almost like we're making a digital pie crust. The supplies needed to create our project are going to be a pumpkin pie. Like I mentioned, I picked mine up from Costco and it was only $6. You'll also need some stencil vinyl, parchment paper, a mesh strainer, powdered sugar, and of course, a Cricut mat. The stencil vinyl I'll be using today is the Paper Studio brand that can be found at Hobby Lobby. Like I've mentioned before, I really like the Paper Studio brand. I find that it cuts really well, they have a ton of varieties, and it's always on sale. You'll be using the stencil vinyl just like you would any other normal vinyl. So with heat transfer vinyl, you place it shiny side down, which just means that you're placing it upside down. Well, this, you're not going to do that. You're just going to place it right side up, just like you would with a normal vinyl. Once cut, we'll just weed out our design. And I have to say that I'm really impressed with this stencil vinyl. It's very similar to a normal vinyl, but it's a little bit thicker, which makes it much easier to weed. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use parchment paper on the back side of our stencil to make sure that it doesn't stick to the pie. So we're just going to use the parchment paper and we're going to put it on our Cricut mat and we're going to cut out the same exact design we did in the stencil vinyl. So at this point, you might be wondering why we don't just cut out the stencil vinyl altogether and just use the parchment paper. Well, I had that same exact thought, so I tested it. I did just the parchment paper, and then I did the parchment paper with the vinyl stencil. And they both turned out very nice, but I have to say that the stencil vinyl and the parchment paper combined gave a cleaner finish. And I think the reason for that is that the stencil vinyl just added a little bit of a weight. So when I put the powdered sugar on, it just gave it a nice clean line, as opposed to just the parchment paper. The edges came up a little bit, so there was some that kind of like seeped underneath. Here I'm just attaching my vinyl stencil upside down onto my Cricut mat so it will lay nice and flat. That will make it much easier to attach the parchment paper. Next, we're just going to place our stencil directly onto our pie, and then we're going to use our mesh strainer to sprinkle on our powdered sugar. So unless you're going to be serving this pie right after you sprinkle on the powdered sugar, I definitely wouldn't use powdered sugar in the future. So I didn't really think this through, but when you put powdered sugar onto a surface that's not completely dry, it's just going to melt. It's going to like dissolve. So next time what I would do is I would just use a light sprinkle. I'd probably find a gold sprinkle, which I think would look really pretty, a really fine sugary gold sprinkle, and I would sprinkle that on instead. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope it inspires you to customize one of your pies for this Thanksgiving or Christmas. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and until next time, happy crafting!